Jeremy Corbell, of course, the UFO journalist under, a lot of people, has just come out with a stark warning to Congress, stating that he's got 3 UFO whistleblowers lined up, and if they do not get the clearance to testify in front of Congress or do not get given that opportunity, he will just post their testimonies to his YouTube channel, Weaponized, with George Knapp. Right, and obviously this is quite a big deal because essentially what Jeremy Corbell is doing here is he's getting the attention of Congress, being like, I've got these people, I know that they're credible, you know that they're credible, and basically he's calling their bluff. He's like, you want these people, you're complaining about whistleblowers not coming forward, like Lou Elizondo not going to the SCIF, for example. Obviously we've seen a bit of a back and forth between Lou Elizondo and Representative Luna with regards to that, and he's basically saying, if you do not bring these people to the forefront and give them this platform, I'll just do it. And we'll all know that you're just making up a load of cackadoodie. All right. And obviously that's not all that he's mentioned within this recent interview with Vice News, but that was one of the biggest talking points. So we'll get into that, and then we'll get into some other little bits and pieces that we've, discovered from this podcast episode. Obviously, if you want to go and check out the full thing for yourself, go over to the Vice News YouTube channel. It is titled, What the US Military Knows About UFOs, featuring Jeremy Corbell. Shane Smith has questions. Now, this obviously is the kind of key talking point with regards to the 3 whistleblowers that Jeremy Corbell has allegedly got lined up. I believe it was Matthew Brown was the last man that we saw on the Weaponized podcast to come forward, and he spoke about the Immaculate Constellation, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's exactly how it went. So obviously, we've seen some very credible witnesses, allegedly credible witnesses, come forward from the Weaponized podcast. So we know that Jeremy Corbell's kind of got his ducks lined up, but this is what he had to say.
So that's happening now, three whistleblowers.
Yeah, right now, man, already recorded.
Wow.
So if it doesn't come out in Congress under oath to the American public, and by the way, it's all safe, it's taking care of national security, don't worry, we're thinkers over here, right? The people talking, they're not idiots, they've worked their whole lives in the shadows. CIA, working in State Department, working in all official capacity you could imagine, from military to intelligence. They ain't dummies, they live here, they love this country, but this needs to come out.
Sure.
Especially because they're being enacted against. So the next hearing is to protect whistleblowers. If we get this done, we set precedent. If David Grush, who I said was a baller, right, Godzilla, if that mother is taken care of,
So he's no longer working for the government.
Well, no. See, this is a historic thing. So Representative Burleson and the task force under Luna brought him as a whistleblower back into government because he had all the clearances for a limited time to be the kind of liaison to the world of whistleblowers to help them bring people forward to do congressional hearings. So it's weird. You get a whistleblower who's now a government employee again. So this is a guy who's a real credit to the intelligence.
Do you think there'll be any new information come out of that? Those congressional hearings or not?
100, but if they do the hearings, yes. If not, it'll come out on Weaponized with me and George Knapp because we already recorded with him. We're going to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God.
There you go.
So he's basically firing a little shot there towards Congress, being like, look, we've got this all lined up. We know that this is not going to compromise national security, so don't try and even use that as an excuse to not get these whistleblowers out. Use them, put them in front of the, American public, let them tell their story, and, expose what they need to expose. And if you don't, we all know that you're just mouth music in it, and we'll just do it ourselves. So basically, it's a bit of a catch-22 where, there are, essentially, Jeremy Corbell doesn't seem to be the loser in this situation. The whistleblowers don't seem to be losers in this situation. But it's now, the ball is firmly in Congress's court, and they can do with it what they will. Now, obviously, this isn't the only thing that they mentioned. So there was another part as well about bionic or biologics and stuff like this with regards to AI and things like this. So let's have a little listen to that because that's also a very interesting talking point.
Biologics.
Do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
Biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
He didn't say beings, bodies. He said biologics. And there's a reason he said that.
Yeah, why?
Well, I think you should ask Dave. He's smarter than me, but I
He's
think
not here.
yeah, it's true. Well, we can call
Keep
him.
going. Biologics.
Biologics. I think because we make the assumption that's why we changed it to non-human intelligence. We make assumption extraterrestrial, alien. Well, maybe they're from here. They're ultra-terrestrials. Maybe some of these things are just like printed flesh with AI. We'd call that a biologic.
Oh, I see.
Because we do that.
Yeah.
We print organs. So I think he's leaving the terminology open for interpretation. But what he's saying is, yeah, they're aliens and craft.
I remember talking to Larry Page, and he was saying, for space travel, it doesn't.
Obviously, you know, that's always been something that's been picked up as well, is like the term non-human intelligence is never labelled an alien, because if you label it an alien or an extraterrestrial, it means it's come from somewhere else. But, you know, open to interpretation. Technically, he's then not lying when the secrets really do come out. Now, there was a lot that they spoke about. So another hot talking point was the Mosul orb footage, which obviously is in the possession of Jaime Maussan right now. So, you know, that's... people are going to, you know, take issue with that and umbrage because of his, you know, track record when it comes to biologics and stuff like this. But they also spoke about the pyramid UFO, the jellyfish UAP that Jeremy Corbell released back in 2024, I want to say. The Tic Tac incident from the Nimitz encounter back in 2004, the gimbal footage from 2008. They're all very, you know, widely spoken about talking points. We know a lot about that already. They talk about government acknowledged cover-ups, whistleblowers and congressional hearings. That's obviously the part where David Grush was heavily mentioned, and so were these 3 other whistleblowers. There's the Bob Lazar claims, which is quite an interesting talking point actually. So Corbell revisited Bob Lazar's 1989 allegations of working on 9 extraterrestrial craft after Area 51's S4 site. Despite skepticism, Corbell believes that Lazar's consistent story aligns with recent congressional testimonies about reverse engineered programs like the Immaculate Constellation, for example, and these legacy programs that we're hearing about. And then to kind of wrap up, he talks about crowdsourcing and journalism. So he's basically likening what is going on right now to like online sleuths solving crimes, like for example Don't Fuck with Cats, if you remember that show on Netflix, I think it was. And he uses the cosmic time and rigorous journalism to verify sources, enabling credibility without rushing to break stories. And that's kind of like what he pushes for people to do, because, you know, when people rush to break stories, it would seem there could be inconsistencies, there could be, you know, not full truths, and things could come back to bite people on the arse later on. So, very interesting stuff. Obviously, like I say, the ball is firmly now in the court of Congress and what they choose to do with it. We all know that Jeremy Corbell has got close ties to that of like Representative Luna, for example, who usually chairs or will organise these hearings. I believe from the rumour mill that there are supposed to be more congressional hearings happening in 2025. Well, I say it's meant to. It is meant to, but whether that actually happens, we're yet to see. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, jump scare the hell out of that like button and subscribe. And until next time, I'll speak to you later. Peace.